Hello and welcome back to another episode of the English Hustle. I'm Alex.
And I'm Maria. Today we're diving into a topic that's incredibly important for everyone. Self-care.
Self-care might sound like a buzzword, but it's really about taking the time to look after yourself, both mentally and physically. It's about recognizing your needs and making sure you address them.
Exactly. Self-care isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity. By taking care of ourselves, we can better handle stress, stay productive, and maintain a positive outlook on life.
Today, we'll discuss the different aspects of self-care, share some personal stories, and offer practical tips you can use in your daily life.
We'll also look at how self-care can benefit not just your overall well-being, but also your English learning journey. So stay tuned as we explore why self-care should be a priority in our lives.
Let's get started. Before we dive deeper, let's go over some key vocabulary related to self-care. Understanding these terms will help us make the most of our discussion.
Absolutely. Our first word is self-care. Self-care refers to the practice of taking action to preserve or improve one's own health. For example, taking time for a relaxing bath or ensuring you get enough sleep are both forms of self-care.
Next up is mindfulness. Mindfulness means being fully present in the moment and aware of your thoughts and feelings without judgment. An example of mindfulness is practicing meditation or simply paying close attention to your breathing.
Our third term is resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from challenges and adapt to adversity. For instance, if you face a setback at work but find a way to overcome it and stay positive, that's a sign of resilience.
Then we have balance. Balance is about managing various aspects of your life in a way that maintains overall well-being. This could mean balancing work with personal time or ensuring you have a mix of physical and mental activities in your daily routine.
Lastly, we have wellness. Wellness encompasses a holistic approach to health that includes physical, mental, and emotional aspects. For example, maintaining a healthy diet, exercising regularly, and seeking emotional support are all part of wellness.
These terms are all interconnected and crucial for understanding self-care. Self-care practices help us achieve mindfulness and resilience, maintain balance, and enhance overall wellness.
And as we continue, keep these terms in mind. They'll help you grasp how integrating self-care into your routine can improve your life in many ways.
Exactly. Let's move on to how these concepts apply to everyday life. Now, let's get into some personal stories about how self-care has made a difference. I'll start. A few years ago, I was really overwhelmed with work and personal commitments. I was working long hours and barely taking any time for myself. I started to notice that I was feeling more stressed and exhausted.
That sounds tough. What did you do about it?
I decided to make self-care a priority. I began setting aside time each day for activities I enjoyed, like reading and going for walks. I also started practicing mindfulness through meditation. It was amazing how taking just a few minutes each day to focus on myself helped me feel more relaxed and energized.
That's a great example of how small changes can make a big impact. I have a story about a friend of mine She was juggling a demanding job and caring for her family, which left her feeling constantly drained. She realized she needed to take better care of herself.
What did she do?
She started incorporating self-care routines into her life, like regular exercise and setting boundaries to ensure she had downtime. She also began attending therapy sessions to work through some of her stress and anxiety. Over time, she noticed a significant improvement in her mood and overall well-being. She felt more balanced and better able to manage her responsibilities.
That's inspiring. It's clear that self-care practices can have a profound effect on how we feel and function. For both of us, making self-care a priority led to increased well-being and resilience.
Absolutely. And these personal experiences show how important it is to find what works for you. Self-care is not a one-size-fits-all solution. It's about discovering what helps you feel your best.
Right. As we continue, think about how you can incorporate these self-care practices into your own life. It might be something small but meaningful, like taking time to relax or setting boundaries to reduce stress.
So true. Let's move on to discussing common self-care practices and how you can integrate them into your daily routine.
Now, let's explore some popular self-care practices and how you can integrate them into your daily life. We'll start with exercise.
Exercise is a fantastic way to take care of your physical and mental health. It doesn't have to be anything intense. Simple activities like walking, jogging, or even stretching can be incredibly beneficial. Aim for at least 30 minutes a day, but remember, any amount of physical activity is better than none.
Next up is mindfulness. Mindfulness involves being present and fully engaged in the moment. You can practice mindfulness through meditation, deep breathing exercises, or simply by paying attention to your surroundings. Even just a few minutes a day can help reduce stress and improve focus.
Another great self-care practice is engaging in hobbies. Hobbies can be anything you enjoy, like painting, gardening, or playing a musical instrument. Taking time for hobbies can provide a much-needed break from daily routines and help you feel more fulfilled.
Let's not forget about setting boundaries. This means knowing when to say no and creating limits to protect your time and energy. For example, if work is taking up too much of your personal time, setting clear boundaries can help you maintain a healthier work-life balance.
And then there's getting adequate sleep. Sleep is crucial for overall health and well-being. Establishing a regular sleep routine and creating a restful environment can make a big difference. Aim for 7-9 hours of quality sleep each night.
So, how can you incorporate these practices into your daily routine? Start by choosing one or two that resonate with you. For instance, you might begin by adding a short mindfulness practice each morning or scheduling a weekly time for your favorite hobby.
You can also integrate exercise into your day by taking the stairs instead of the elevator or going for a walk during your lunch break. Setting boundaries might involve creating a specific end time for your workday and sticking to it.
Exactly. The key is to make self-care a regular part of your routine, rather than something you do only when you're feeling stressed. Small, consistent changes can lead to big improvements in your well-being.
And remember, self-care is personal. It's important to find what works best for you and make it a priority in your life.
So, Maria, I've been hearing a lot about different self-care routines lately. I've found that taking a few minutes each day for mindfulness really helps me stay focused and calm. How about you?
I totally agree. Mindfulness is fantastic. For me, I also enjoy taking short walks in nature. It's a great way to clear my mind and get a bit of fresh air. Do you have any other tips for maintaining balance in your life?
Definitely. One thing that's helped me is setting clear boundaries with work. I make it a point to stop working at a specific time each day and avoid checking emails outside of work hours. It's helped me maintain a better work-life balance. What about you? How do you manage to keep your life balanced?
That's a great tip. I also try to prioritize hobbies and activities that I love. For instance, I set aside time each week for reading and practicing yoga. It's really refreshing to have something to look forward to that's just for me.
Yoga sounds wonderful. I've heard it's great for both physical and mental health. Have you found that it helps you manage stress?
Absolutely. Yoga helps me feel more centered and reduces my stress levels. Plus, it's a good way to get some exercise without feeling like I'm pushing myself too hard. What about exercise? Do you have a routine?
I do. I've started doing a mix of cardio and strength training a few times a week. It's not only good for my body, but also boosts my mood and energy levels. I find that incorporating it into my schedule helps me feel more productive and positive.
That's great. I think it's important to find activities that you enjoy and that fit into your lifestyle. Self-care doesn't have to be time-consuming or complicated. It's about making small adjustments that enhance your overall well-being.
Exactly. And sometimes it's the little things that make the biggest difference, like making time for a hobby or just taking a few moments to breathe deeply can have a big impact.
I couldn't agree more. It's all about finding what works for you and making it a regular part of your life. It's definitely worth the effort.
Well said, Maria. Up next, we'll delve into the science behind self-care and why these practices are so effective. Let's dive into the science behind self-care and explore why it's so beneficial. First, let's talk about the psychological benefits. Research shows that engaging in self-care activities can significantly reduce stress levels. For example, mindfulness practices like meditation have been shown to lower cortisol, the hormone associated with stress.
That's right. Lower cortisol levels can lead to reduced anxiety and improved mood. Regular self-care can also enhance emotional resilience, helping you cope better with life's challenges. For instance, activities that promote relaxation can activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which counteracts the body's stress response.
On the physical side, self-care practices like exercise and proper sleep have numerous benefits. Exercise increases endorphins, which are chemicals in the brain that act as natural painkillers and mood elevators. Regular physical activity is linked to lower risks of chronic diseases, better sleep quality, and improved overall health.
And speaking of sleep, getting adequate rest is crucial for both mental and physical health. Good sleep hygiene improves cognitive function, memory, and emotional regulation. It also helps in repairing and rejuvenating the body, which is essential for overall well-being.
Self-care practices also play a role in improving productivity. When you take time for self-care, you're essentially recharging your mental and physical batteries. This helps you stay focused, make better decisions, and be more creative. It's a bit like taking breaks during work. It helps you return to tasks with a refreshed perspective.
Absolutely. Self-care can also enhance overall happiness. When you prioritize your needs and well-being, you're more likely to experience positive emotions and a sense of satisfaction. Engaging in enjoyable activities and maintaining a balanced lifestyle contribute to a greater sense of fulfillment.
Another interesting point is that self-care helps in maintaining a healthy work-life balance. When you set boundaries and make time for personal activities, you reduce the risk of burnout and maintain better relationships with family and friends.
Yes, and the cumulative effect of these practices, reduced stress, improved mood, better physical health, and increased productivity, leads to a higher overall quality of life. It's a powerful reminder that taking care of ourselves is not just a luxury, but a fundamental aspect of leading a healthy and happy life.
So, understanding the science behind self-care underscores its importance. It's not just about feeling good in the moment, it's about long-term health and well-being.
Exactly. As we continue, think about how you can apply these insights to your own self-care routine. Up next, we'll discuss common obstacles to self-care and how to overcome them.
Let's address some common barriers people face when trying to practice self-care and explore how to overcome them. One major obstacle is feeling like you don't have enough time. Many people think that self-care requires a lot of time, which can be overwhelming.
That's a common concern. But self-care doesn't have to be time-consuming. You can start with small, manageable activities. For example, even a 5-minute mindfulness exercise or a short walk can be beneficial. The key is to integrate these practices into your daily routine.
Another challenge is dealing with guilt. Some people feel guilty about taking time for themselves, especially if they have other responsibilities. It's important to remember that self-care is not selfish. It's necessary for maintaining your well-being.
Absolutely. To combat this guilt, try to reframe self-care as a way to enhance your ability to be present and effective in other areas of your life. When you take care of yourself, you're better equipped to handle responsibilities and support others.
Financial constraints can also be a barrier. Some self-care activities like spa treatments or gym memberships can be costly. However, there are plenty of low-cost or free self-care options available. For instance, practicing deep breathing, going for a walk, or enjoying a hobby can be just as effective.
And don't forget about the challenge of finding motivation. Sometimes, starting a self-care routine can be difficult, especially if you're not used to it. Setting small, achievable goals can help. Start with one simple activity and gradually build from there.
Creating a routine can also help. Schedule self-care activities just like you would any other important task. Having a set time for self-care can make it easier to stick with it.
Lastly, it's important to address any negative self-talk. If you find yourself thinking you don't deserve self-care or that it's not worth the effort, challenge those thoughts. Remind yourself of the benefits and how taking care of yourself can lead to a more balanced and fulfilling life.
Great points, Maria. Overcoming these obstacles requires a mindset shift and practical strategies. Remember, self-care is a vital part of maintaining your health and well-being, and making it a priority is key.
Exactly. With these tips, we hope you can find ways to integrate self-care into your life, even with the challenges you might face.
Next, we'll explore how self-care specifically supports English learners and contributes to their overall progress. Stay tuned. Now, let's talk about how self-care can specifically benefit English learners. One of the biggest challenges in learning a new language is managing stress. Stress can negatively impact concentration and memory, making it harder to absorb and retain new information.
That's right. Engaging in self-care practices can help reduce stress and create a more relaxed learning environment. For instance, mindfulness techniques like deep breathing or meditation can calm the mind and improve focus, which is crucial when learning a new language.
Another important aspect is ensuring you get enough rest. Good sleep is essential for cognitive function and memory retention. If you're well rested, you're more likely to stay motivated and perform better in your language studies.
Exercise is also beneficial. Physical activity increases blood flow to the brain, which can enhance cognitive functions like problem-solving and memory. Even short, regular workouts can boost your mood and energy levels, making your study sessions more productive.
Creating a balanced study routine is another way to incorporate self-care. Avoid cramming or studying for long periods without breaks. Instead, use techniques like the Pomodoro technique. Study for 25 minutes, then take a 5-minute break. This approach helps maintain focus and prevents burnout.
And don't forget about integrating enjoyable activities into your routine. If you find language learning stressful, try incorporating activities that you enjoy, such as watching movies or listening to music in English. This can make the learning process more engaging and less overwhelming.
Setting realistic goals and celebrating your progress is also important. Self-care involves recognizing your achievements and not being too hard on yourself. Celebrate small milestones and be patient with your learning journey.
Absolutely. Balancing study time with relaxation and enjoyable activities can make a big difference in how effectively you learn. Remember, taking care of your overall well-being will support your language learning goals.
Exactly. Self-care isn't just about relaxation. It's a vital part of creating a sustainable and effective learning routine. Up next, we'll answer some listener questions about self-care and provide additional tips. Stay with us. Interactive segment. Welcome to our interactive segment. We've received some great questions from our listeners about self-care. Let's dive into a few and provide some practical advice.
Our first question comes from Sarah. She asks, I often feel overwhelmed by my busy schedule and struggle to find time for self-care. What are some quick self-care activities I can incorporate into a packed day?
Great question, Sarah. For busy schedules, consider short but effective activities. You could try a 5-minute meditation session, a quick walk around the block, or deep breathing exercises. Even a brief stretch or a moment of mindfulness can make a big difference.
Our next question is from John. He says, I find it hard to stick to self-care routines because I get easily distracted. Any tips for staying consistent?
Consistency can be challenging. One tip is to create a self-care schedule and set reminders on your phone. Start with small, manageable tasks and gradually build a routine. It's also helpful to make self-care enjoyable so it feels less like a chore.
Here's another question from Emily. How can I incorporate self-care into my English learning routine without feeling guilty for taking breaks?
Emily, integrating self-care into your learning routine is important. Schedule short breaks between study sessions to relax or do something you enjoy. Remember, breaks are essential for maintaining focus and productivity, so they're actually helping you learn more effectively.
And finally, we have a question from Mark. What are some self-care practices that can help with improving my concentration and motivation?
Mark, practices like regular exercise and adequate sleep are crucial for improving concentration and motivation. Additionally, setting clear goals and taking time to reflect on your progress can keep you motivated and focused.
Great questions, everyone. We hope these tips help you incorporate self-care into your routines effectively.
Absolutely. If you have more questions, feel free to reach out to us anytime. Up next, we'll summarize today's episode and share our final thoughts. Stay tuned. Conclusion and takeaways. To wrap up today's episode, let's quickly summarize the key points we've covered. We discussed the definition and importance of self-care, including how it can reduce stress, improve well-being, and enhance productivity.
We also explored common self-care practices like mindfulness, exercise, and setting boundaries. Plus, we talked about how self-care can be integrated into your English learning routine to boost focus and motivation.
Remember, self-care doesn't have to be complex or time-consuming. Small, consistent practices can lead to significant improvements in your overall well-being and learning progress.
Exactly. It's about finding what works best for you and making self-care a regular part of your life. We hope you found some practical tips and motivation to start incorporating self-care into your routine.
Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear how you're integrating self-care into your lives, so feel free to share your experiences with us.
Be sure to join us next time as we explore new topics and continue to support your English learning journey. We'll be discussing strategies for effective language practice.
Until next time, take care of yourselves and keep hustling with your English learning.